Welcome back, everyone. So far in this module, we've done a lot of good work talking about relational models, building entity relation diagrams. And now for the rest of the module, we'll focus on Microsoft Access. I will introduce the software. This is a data-based management system, and we'll consider some examples of using Microsoft Access for different tasks. So I highly recommend you follow along, by which I mean you open Microsoft Access and try to reproduce what I do in these videos. This way you will retain the information better and it will be easier for you to complete your homework assignments. Now there is one problem for Mac users. Microsoft Access does not work on Mac, period, unlike Excel or Word probably. But we have a workaround. I posted some information uh, between the videos so you can read it how to do that. But basically, you will need to use your browser on your Mac machine to access a virtual Windows machine provided by the State University of New York. And there you will be once you access this virtual Windows machine, you will be able to basically do everything what I do in the same way. It shouldn't be a difficulty for you. So let's dive right in. And as usual, I hope you learned something new and maybe even useful. So just to give you a little bit of background, so Microsoft Access is a database management system, and it's one of many such systems. And there's MySQL, there's Oracle, SQLite, etc. So database management system is, in very basic terms, is a software that is used for storing and retrieving users' data while keeping in mind appropriate security measures. So basically, we use the software to give access to users without compromising the database. So on this graph that we see here in this slide, we have on the right our database. And this is a repository of our information stored in a digital format. So that's database. And we interact with the data using database software engine. So which often uses, this term is often used interchangeably with database management system. So database engine, database management system. So the database engine has four main functions, as we can see here. First is data definition function, which means the ability to create and change data structure. In a way, we define data, what data is, by changing it. So we take our raw data and use database engine software to restructure it. So we define the data. Next is data manipulation function, necessary to be able to ask questions, submit queries and change the data, like make corrections or create new values from existing ones. So application generator function allows to create some simple user interfaces as well as reporting and software applications. So we basically, instead of performing every single step manually, we create some small applications that automate the process. We do a click and it generates a report. So database engine allows us to customize this and create these little applications. And finally, at the bottom, we have data maintenance function, which allows to control the access to the data, back it up and recover, as well as to ensure its quality and allow periodic auditing, which is checking that everything is properly stored and there is no manipulation. So let's take a look at these components of this database system using Microsoft Access and basically see what Microsoft Access actually is. So I'll give you just a quick overview of Microsoft Access and see how it compares to the main functions of a database engine we just discussed. So in order to start up Access, basically you hit the start button in the bottom left and then type Access and you will have your Access here. So click on that and it's going to start up and a sort of blank database. And we can click on that, call it whatever you want, database 1, it's just an example, and then hit create. I already have database 1 in my folder, So I'm just going to rewrite it because it doesn't matter, it's just a test. So, and this is the menu that we have in Microsoft Access, and it should be familiar to you by now. It's the ribbon at the top with different tabs. One thing I wanted to say that if you want to have dark background, um, sort of the menu and the sides, as I do, you need to go to Options and then General, and then Office Theme. Change to whatever you want, dark gray or black. I prefer black because it's not as hard on my eyes. But anyways, the file is very standard, as in Microsoft Word or Excel. You have Save As, where you would save, you would save your files, information, open, create new, and so on. So this should be familiar to you. But let's take a look at the main menu and see what Excel basically has here. And the first thing is that it one thing on the home button that we'll use very frequently is actually changing the view, and we will see how this works. But we can switch between actually editing our table. We will create tables here, which we also call relations, as you know by now. So we can specify how we want each variable to show here, and we'll go through that. And we can go back to actual review. So we can filter the data. If I had entries here, my filter would show options, and we could exclude certain observations. We can add new observations. We could rearrange them. Basically our data set could be rearranged in any order by values or in alphabetic order, and so on. So the usual formatting options, as you would see in Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. So, and here we have several tabs that we'll be using. So one of these is Create tab, and this one has basic access functions associated with our data definition or creating and changing the structure of the data. So that's the functionality that I mentioned in the previous slide. So we will use these tools to define and create data. So the table design, SharePoint list are specifically related to data definition function. Now we have also query wizard and query design, and these are data manipulation function. So that's another function we mentioned. So we will use them to submit our questions or queries. And a query is a request for information. And in our case, the information is retrieved from our database. So we submit a query, the computer searches for us through maybe thousands or millions of observations and gives us a summary. So next to the right, we have other tools related to forms and reports. Forms here and reports over here, and both are related to application generator functionality. So instead of manually repeating multiple steps, we create small applications, and if we keep using something, specific request frequently, we can create an application, and just in 1-2 clicks, we get our information. So in addition to this, we also have an opportunity to use external data. We can connect to, we can basically import here different databases, from different formats, from online services, as well as from a file familiar to you, Excel, saved reports, and so on. We can import data from text file, from XML, PDFs or XPS, emails, and numerous other options. Now, and the last one is the database tools tab. So this tab basically gives us the data it's our data maintenance component, and using this tab we can control, as I mentioned, we can control access to data, back it up, recover, and so on. So we have Access Database, SharePoint, so several options here. So as well as compact and repair the databases. So these tools will become clearer and easier to understand and remember as we work with them. And in the next videos, which will be tutorials, we will use most of these tools to create small applications and generate the information we need with a toy data set. Ultimately, we will create a small project, a student advising database system, let's call it that way. So we'll use this relational schema that you're familiar with from one of the assignments, and it includes 3 tables: faculty, students, and advising notes table. So we'll define primary keys and create a relationship among the tables. So most important, we will learn how to import data from Excel and run queries and create reports from that data. In order to follow along with all the tutorials, please be sure to download these files, the Excel spreadsheet for Star Wars students and advisors, and UAlbany logo. So you will need them to replicate what we're going to do. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.